Hello, ladies and gentlemen, it's Christelle Martinette with another reading for the month of April. Now, before I tell you how I'm going to go about things, let me just put in a plug for different services because I've had people come over again and again and again, and first-time readers go into a series of patterns. Every 2 weeks they come back for a reading, or every 3 weeks, and it would be wise to come in for a free consultation and talk about the different things that would be best for you, depending on your issues. A lot recently have come to me for past life regression, and a fair amount for hypnotherapy because of certain different issues they've had. But then we saw together that it would be best to either just go to a card reading or just go to soul therapy. And in most cases, however, we did go through past life regression. Now, I would consider all of the different services because sometimes it's just not a card reading. What you'll find is that you see patterns in your life. The same things keep happening over and over again. People come to me and say, I just can't find I just can't keep love in my life, or even no matter how I try. And others keep telling me there's illness there. It recurs often, and or my dreams, I've had nightmares over and over and over again. So every issue is different. But then most of the times, a lot of the times, just a card reading will do. So now, what are we going to do this month? This month I have here my tools, as always, but I'm thinking of doing it this way, and it will be different. It will be tailor-made for every sign, I think. So I have here my picture postcards, the fine arts picture postcards, then my Silver Witchcraft Tarot, and then my Vera Sibilla cards. And of course I'll have on hand the Neapolitan cards should I need them, and crown the reading this time with my antler runes. You know that antlers fall off, and there was a wonderful woman who crafts these. They're beautiful and they're very easy to see. So on to the next, happy birthday, Aries. On to our readings for April. Gemini, it's your turn for the month of April. Let's see what the month of April holds in store for you, Gemini. Let's see what April holds in store for Gemini. Oh, I see marriages for many of you. Marriages for many of you coming in this month. Let me go and then I'll come back to each section. Not only marriages. What I'm seeing is plans for a very important celebration. A very important celebration, the invitations, and there is an element of sadness here, however. So let me concentrate on one thing at a time. Christelle, always jumping the gun. Let's see what Gemini. In any case, it is at the end of a very difficult moment. It is the end of a difficult moment for you because, and a good part of the audience, Gemini, there is finally, there are a number of you, I'm seeing 55, that have awaited a ruling, and it's ruling the ruling is in your favor. But after a long, heavy period, that you've had to go through. Okay, let's see that. Yes, a very difficult period that you've gone through. But there is still that 45% that may have, may be receiving a negative ruling, you know, not in your favor. So there's, it's not a 50-50, I have 55 and 45, I'm saying. Now, let me start by saying, you know, this celebration, let me show you the cards first. This is Dance in the City by Renoir. It's 1883. Dancers. These two dancers are models, and there's a model and artist. They were Renoir's friends. Then I have the princess shares her dinner with the frog, Walter Crane. This is 1874 from The Frog Prince. Autumn Leaves by John Everett Millais. It's about 1880, 1855. Ballet Rehearsal by Degas. You can pick that out by Degas. Those artist buffs out there. Paul Cézanne, Jug and Fruits, about 1890. Now, what I'm seeing is there's a lot of busy work. Okay, there's a lot of busy work. And it is, for those of you who are marrying and getting married, and the celebration is coming up in the month of April, that will be the case. There's a lot going on there. But there's a side to that story that that sort of seems to bother you. It's as if something has come to an end, and that saddens you in many ways, Gemini. It seems that it could be this. What I'm getting, if you are parents and your daughter or your son is getting married, you are saddened by the notion that they have grown. They're, you know, it's coming to an end. There's that touch of sadness. But the show must go on. There is the busy work around it. Now, this also speaks of studious people, these scholars, who are undergoing, or at the end of a cycle, they're handing in their PhD, they're finishing their MA thesis or something like. They're graduating. They just went through graduation session, and there's that sadness of looking back. Now what do I do? You know, oh, I'm an adult all of a sudden, you know. And there's also the idea that for 1 second, Gemini, just for 1 second, you think, and it's a very fleeting moment, is it worth it? And you ask yourself, was all this worth it? Now, there are here 2 sevens. In my Silver Witchcraft Tarot, the spread is 3, 3, and 1 card, 7 of Wands and the 7 of Cups, one after another. And of course, well, followed by the 10 of Swords. And here, of course, I'm seeing that you are in the middle of a process, you know. I have closed the door on one part of my life, and now I'm going to another part of my life. And I'm not sure where my feet really belong. Or shall I not move at all? You know, you're starting to think, you're asking yourself. And I'm seeing here, also here I have the 2 of Pentacles, the Judgment card, and the Hierophant. And, you know, as I said, the last card is the 9 of Wands. As I said here, when I was laying the spread, there are a fair amount of you, 55%, who are going to receive a favorable ruling, for those of you who have legal matters underway. But there is also, Disgrazia fell right out of the deck while I was mixing the cards after I lay the Witchcraft Tarot. The Disgrazia, the disaster, which is like a tower situation. There is that 45% of you who still may be receiving a negative ruling. But what's interesting for me to see is that, similarly, as I said here, for one moment you ask yourself, was it worth it? Here, you know deep down in your hearts of hearts, these cards knight each other. You know in your heart of hearts that you're going through a huge portal and you're moving forward in another phase in your life. And that you are in one way embodying a new spiritual persona. And it's a very strong feeling for you, Gemini. Very, very strong, powerful renovation, change. It could be cathartic for many of you. It could be cathartic for many of you, the Nine of Wands. Now, as I said, you know, the Disgrazia, the disaster card, fell right out of the deck. I have here also three odd cards as a pair, as a trio. I have the Messenger, Messaggero, Love, Amore, and Dispiacere, sadness. And it seems as if, you know, following this, it seems as if you catch wind of, there are a few of you, all right? This is, I don't see this as being a majority. This could be a few. I'm seeing 17%, you know, I see numbers where everybody says you should play those numbers, go, you know. There are a few of you who are quite saddened by that, the passing of what was. You know, my youth has passed, my innocence has passed, and you're saddened by that. Okay. But we've got then here, the Donna Maritata, the responsibility that we all have. This is the married woman, the mother, but we have, it could be male or female. This is you with responsibilities. Lettera, letter, and militare. They're telling you, the cards, that you will be receiving a message that will counteract this feeling that you have, this not going through the portal of a rite of passage. It's as if you're going through a rite of passage. Don't worry, even though you don't know what it's all about now, it will be fine. It will be fine, Gemini. Domestico. Now, usually this is a card that usually is a sinister type of card. But I'm seeing this as a progression right down the middle from the disastro, the disgrazia, love, a letter, and domestico. You'll be coming home. The domestic, the house domestic. It is, you'll be coming back home. It's the month of April is going to have you starting in one way and ending in another. It's going to be quite a roller coaster ride for you, Gemini, but a ride where there is this rite of passage, and we necessarily have to go forward. Well, time inexorably moves, you know, us. And that is the sensation if you are not meditating, where everything stands still at times, or you can transcend the present. What will happen inevitably is the notion that you are part of a flow, but that you'll be coming home. Let me take the runes and see what they have to say. Excuse me. Wow. Well. Well. All right, I'm looking, and they're shouting, and they're shouting different messages, and I'm trying to get my bearings in which one is the most pertinent to say now. All right, the aspect of spirituality. Let me start with that. Right in the center, the Hierophant, and the Hierophant is a teaching. There is a teaching here that needs to be seized. That you, if anything in the month of April, look for that message of something that will, a message that you can come away with the month of April, a teaching to take with you, because I have Awats here, which is a protective rune, and it's over the Nine of Wands, and the protective rune talks about you are safe in your burdens. when I say April will mark the past, there will be a definite change. It will be a change, but what you have undergone until the month of April is never lost, it is not forgotten, and it has its weight. It bears a certain weight for who you will become after you go through that portal, that rite of passage in April. And that is fundamental to remember. April is not a month where you are given enormous amounts of money, where you receive. That's not the case. It's not about your finances here, and it's not about communication per se. You will receive some information that saddens you, yes, but that is not the case. It's not the case of being a month where you get all of this information download, you get all the money. No, it's a month where you need to seek out that teaching. You need to understand the message that you receive as a teaching for you to come back. And it's not a month where you are given, the focus is not on finances here. The focus is on the abundance that you come away with from your understanding of what you just experienced before April. And the understanding that your personal relation, the relationship that you have with yourself, is by far the most important, because how you assess who you are. There's a lot of, I don't want to say soul searching, but because it's really not soul searching, Gemini. What I'm seeing here is taking stock and understanding that what you went through does have value, and it has value for you. How you assess your future, how you conceive and perceive of things that are offered to you in the future. And there is there's Isa here, and of course 30 Sats. This is never a very light message, 30 Sats, even if it's Merkstave and Isa together. They're beating on the notion that you have to get to understand who you are. Who is Christelle? Who is Giuseppe? Who is John? Who is Susan? You need to understand your personal wealth and the personal contribution that you can make based on the experience that you may deem negative up until now. Now, one very, very important message that I'm getting here is Manats over the Messaggero. And for me, Gemini, this tells me that you have the gift of being a megaphone. You have the gift of, they're asking you, they're telling you, they're suggesting that you be a representative of some sort for, when we talk in the legal field of a class action, of a group that you can represent, be the spokesperson for something, work as a lobbyist, work as a trade union leader, work as, or a manager that has to do with human resources, that you manage people, but it's being a spokesperson in some way, not only for the underdog. This is what the cards are suggesting for your future after the month of April. I hope this was of help, Gemini. Until we meet together again, till we read together again. Namaste. Bye-bye.